So today is finally the day that I fit up my Watermate Pro in the polytunnel. Now this polytunnel is 20 foot long, 12 foot wide, and it has got ventilations on both sides of the polytunnel. But today, to add to that, I got myself a Watermate Pro by Harvst. Now they've kindly sent this to me to trial out, and if I want to modify it a little bit to what I need, they're quite happy for me to do that. Now where I say I'll modify, it might be where the drip lines go, or whether or not I use another system parallel with it that I can actually split off from the Harvst pump and add these. So I'm thinking about adding these nozzles around the perimeter where the staging is, so that I can actually bend these in place, because these can actually bend, and it means I can move these sprayers to all the points on the staging where I want watering. Now my idea is that I'm going to set up the Harvst Watermate Pro, run it around so that it does both sides and also the middle bed in the polytunnel on one zone, and also put this one parallel to it to water on the top. And I want to add little taps to these as well, so hopefully they'll come now in the next couple of days so I can add it onto this video. But I'll start setting it up and I'll show you what's in the box, and then let's go. So in the box you've got some drip line 4mm hose. There's 20 meters of that. Also the solar panel and the fitments for the solar panel, the pump, and also the control panel as well. Now I'll show you all this in operation as well once I set it all up. So inside here is a 12.5 litres per minute pump, and also some fitments as well, and also a filtration as well which clips onto here. So it looks quite technical, but it's actually quite easy to set up. This is where you'll split off into two zones, zone 1 and zone 2. So if you want to have it set up where one system goes one way and one system goes another, you can actually control that by using your mobile phone. Now the good thing about the Watermate Pro is that it actually can be connected to Wi-Fi. So if you are at home and you want to connect this up, you can actually be on holiday, go onto your mobile phone, it's already connected to the network, and you can actually turn your water on from wherever you are around the world. But because I'm at the allotment, this will be run by solar power. Now you can actually have the option of mains or solar. I'm off grid here at the allotment, so that'll be run by solar power. I'll show you how to set all that as well. It's really easy. They're all little push fitments at the bottom here, so it's quite easy to do. There's no wiring up or anything like that. So yeah, and also you get a nice temperature probe as well that you actually connect to it, so it tells you the temperature inside your tunnel. And you can actually have it set up so that if the polytunnel or your greenhouse gets too hot, you can have that set that it'll give extra water when you're not here, which is perfect, which is exactly what I want it to do. So if it gets too warm in here, that little clever little box will say, let's give those tomatoes, let's give those vegetables an extra bit of watering today. So that's perfect. It also comes with a pile of brackets as well, so that you can actually clip it around the sides of your polytunnel. Now bear in mind, if you're using like a first tunnels, you've got your metal poles here, so they do give you some cable ties as well, so you can use it, cable ties on it. I'm lucky that I've actually got timber frame halfway around, which I'm going to actually use the P clips that they provide, so that I can actually clip it around the side of it. So that's my plan today to do it. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do this for, you know, a few months now, and I've had it sat in a box ready to be installed, but today is the day. It also comes with a tensioning wire as well, so if you don't want to cable tie it to your poles in your polytunnel or in your greenhouse, you can actually use this, and this actually just tensions up, and then you can actually cable tie the irrigation to this wire in here. But I'm going to use this for something else in a future date, because I obviously don't need to use that, so maybe that'll be for a grapevine or something. So yes, everything here now is ready to be set up. So there is 3 types of pipe. There is the irrigation line. There's also a wider one here which you can tap into. And also this one then as well, which is braided. And this is the one that I'll use for the pump, which is going to go into an IBC tank outside, 1,000 litres. I have got a second one, so I might be connecting those both together, so I've even got more water. So this is the one that you use, that you'll connect to the sump pump that goes inside the IBC. So everything's in the box. Let's set it up. So then you cut about 10 inches of pipe, or however long you need it to fit from the valves to the actual pump. So I've created this, and it comes with a hose pipe connector. You put a Jubilee clip on, and then the fitment, and then you just tighten it up. And then I just fit it into this port. There we go. So I fitted a post up and added the solar panel. The only issue was trying to get the screws underneath the panel, but what I did is just use an adjustable spanner, which I'll put a link to that in the description. So it's been 2 weeks since I installed the Watermate Pro. Now I've left it a few weeks because I wanted it to bed in. I wanted to get used to the system before I started reviewing it to you, iron out any issues I had, and also show you all the modifications that I've done since that. Now Harvst are actually happy with me and anyone else taking their system and then making it better or more person-centered to you. So let's have a little look around of what I've done, and yeah, it's a game changer for sure. And if you're wondering how is this system all powered, it's powered by this solar panel, this small solar panel that I've actually connected to a post, pointing it towards the sun, and then it runs down a cable into the power unit inside the tunnel. And the water comes from the IBC tank, which is connected to this hose, which again runs straight inside the tunnel to the pump, and it's got this filter on here as well to stop the debris, and you just drop it in the tank and job done. Now I've shown this before on the tunnel. The tunnel is actually collects all the water into this guttering system, which then runs into the IBC tank here. So yeah, it's all self-sufficient. So in a nutshell, the sun provides the power, the rain provides the water for the system. It looks after itself. I mean, that's the only problem with a greenhouse and a polytunnel, is that it is undercover and no water can get inside, but with this system you're bringing the elements back inside. So as you've seen on the setup video, I created this like triangle here. You need like a baseboard or something to fit up the control panel. Ignore this for a second because this is where I have gone a little bit inspect the gadget and changed it a little bit. You need it for the pump, you need it for the valves, and you also need it for the control panel. Now the reason I wanted this in is because I wanted all the cables and everything tucked behind. I wanted somewhere where everything was actually central, and I wanted it all in one area. And I mean, this is quite central here. I mean, it's at the back of the plot. It doesn't get in the way, and yeah, I just think this is a better idea. I mean, you could just use one piece of board, but I wanted it to not take out as much light as I could. So yeah, I decided to make like this triangle system. So like I said, ignore this for a second. I'll talk about the modifications that I've done for my polytunnel, but I'll go through the initial setup first. So you just basically just turn it on. Now I leave this on all the time. I'm just showing you now. This is on now. And the good thing is now you can connect this to your mobile phone. This will now be transmitting a signal to your mobile phone. You can open up the app then, and it's got zone 1, zone 2. There's actually a temperature valve, which is actually connected here. Now I'm actually going to fit this up somewhere, but I haven't done that yet. So the good thing about this is that when the temperature gets too cold, it stops the system, and then when it gets too hot, you can actually set the system to whatever temperature you want. I've got mine, if it goes any higher than 25 degrees, it gives it an extra water, and if you can choose the durations of that as well. But it is clever, I will say. So basically, in a nutshell, you've got an override button here. Now this one's good because you can press it down once and it'll beep. And then what it does, it'll do zone 1. And if you want to do zone 2, you just hold the button down once and then loose go and press it down again, and it does 2 beeps. Now what I've got it for, I've got this on zone 2 because you've got 2 zones where you can decide where the water goes. So the second zone goes to this pipe here, which runs all the way around the polytunnel, and I've actually connected taps right across the perimeter of the polytunnel. Now all the way down these stations there's a drip line coming down, and then the pipe runs up around here and then goes back down and goes across. Now this polytunnel is from Harvst Tunnels, and this one comes with a wooden base rail. Now if you haven't already got your polytunnel and you are thinking about putting a polytunnel in, get a base rail like this if you're going to put a system in, because it's so handy, because you can screw in the little fitments that come with it. And I mean, these are great. You just pop the pipe in there and screw down, and it keeps the pipe in place. Now what I've got in at the moment is I've got in a drip line here. Now you just basically just pierce this, which comes with the tool, and you drop it in. Now I've got a little tap here as well, so I can actually turn off each one of the drippers that go across, because I mean, I might not want this area having as much water, so I can actually turn it down. I can regulate it a little bit, or I can turn it off completely. Now this system continues across, goes up the polytunnel, goes across the roof, and again it's got some more in here, some more sprayers. I'll show you the other system in a second now, because I wanted to do more than one thing later on in the season. So that's zone 2. That is what Harvst supplies. They supply enough pipe to go all the way around your polytunnel, around the other side, and then back across the spine as well of the polytunnel. But could I leave it there? Absolutely not, because I love a gadget, and I contacted Harvst and I said, you know, can I change this system to be more person-centered to me? And they said, absolutely. You know, once you've got it, you can adapt it to whatever you need. And let me show you zone 1. So when you first fit this up, you are supposed to put 2 of these pipes on. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have 2 long pipes going around the polytunnel, because I didn't need it for that. So I put another pipe onto here, which actually came with it as well, fitted it to a hose pipe connection, and put this hose lock 4 taps on. Now the reason I done that for is because even though zone 2 goes around there and it does everything that it needs to do, it'll be watering all the tomatoes. Zone 2 is going to be for tomatoes later on in the season. Zone 1 is perfect, because when I want it to spray all the seedlings all across here at the start of spring, it is absolutely fantastic for that. So I've got it set to zone 1. Now what I've done is I put this on here, and the reason I've done it for is because I can actually have 5 zones then. Now it says that you can only have 2, but by splitting zone 1 out here into 4, I can now choose which ones I wanted to do at certain times in the season. So what I've got it set up at the moment is I've got it set up to the staging sprinklers, which I've actually added on by putting this kit here. I'll add this kit in as well. It doesn't come with Harvst, this is separate, but this comes with a nice sturdy pipe that runs up here, and it comes with these fitments here and these sprayers. These were bought separately. Now these taps are actually fantastic, because sometimes I might want to pot here, I might want to be leaving packets of seeds out, or I might want to have a plant here that thinks, oh, okay, is that too much water in at the moment, and I want to turn this off. So I just basically just turn the tap like that. So each one of these I can turn on and off, and which I think is fantastic. And all I did was just cable tie it to the top of the pipe here. I've measured it out. I think it's about 2 foot between each one, and they go all the way across both sides of the polytunnel. Now if I didn't want to do this, now later on in the season, I'm not going to want water spraying down on the tomatoes. That's going to be a disaster. I will turn off each one of these just in case it's a fail-safe, but also I can turn this off here, and I can turn maybe the green stalk on. Now I might want it to water the green stalk over at the front of the polytunnel, which runs all the way across here and down and into the green stalk. Now this is perfect then, because it means I haven't got to water this, I haven't got to worry about this so much. And I mean, one day I might want to just automatically turn this on as well and give it a good watering through. It means I haven't got to lug watering cans over, it will look after itself. Or if I was in the polytunnel, I just thought, you know what, I need to use a hose pipe, I want to just give it all a little spray over, or I want to actually water some buckets, or I just want a hose outside, I can turn on the hose pipe setting by here, and then I can just basically just manually override. Because this is zone 1, by here I just hold this button in for 1 beep, and then the hose pipe, which is actually connected in here separately, I can actually hose my plants whenever I want, outside or inside. And I mean, it's fantastic, because it now means I can use this whole setup for everything that I ever used before, when I used to use like a separate pump that I used to have to bring over with a drill battery and then connect it all together. It's all here now, set up in the polytunnel. I've also got a fourth here, which is actually at the moment just a normal pipe connected. If I wanted to fill up a watering can, I can just override here and fill up the watering can. But this will be for something else later on in the season, so stay tuned for that video. Okay, so you're probably thinking, okay, how much is this system? And I was actually really shocked how much this was. It's not as much as you think it would be. Now, on the market at the moment, I think with some discount, I think it's about £360. I mean, that's in March 2025. Now, I think £1 a day for the first year, where you haven't got to worry about your plants, it's off-grid. It takes the water that's connected to the polytunnel by a guttering system, so it's all off-grid. I mean, it's going to save me so much time. Now, you probably think £360, I mean, but if you think about it, how many hours a year will you spend, especially in spring and summer, watering? I mean, this system could be set up to some beds outside, which I'm going to do on something else as well. That's not what I'm talking about earlier on. I'm going to actually put some soaker hoses outside as well, run another line off that. And if I'm busy or whatever, I'm potting on here, or I'm digging, or I'm building a shed, I can just press that button, override, and it can water some of the beds, so it'll save me some time, you know, in summer. I mean, if I've come over in the morning and this is automatically watered, because it's set for 9 AM, I can then switch over and override using that little hose lock, and then maybe at 4 o'clock, it can water all the beds outside, you know, on this side of the polytunnel or something. So there is so many things that you can do with it. Honestly, I'm excited to use this for the foreseeable future, but it is, honestly, I think it's a perfect kit for me especially. But if you've got a polytunnel, or if you've just got a greenhouse, you can actually get a Water Pro Mini as well. There's a few different products. Go over to Harvst, have a look. I'll pop a link in the description to it, and there's a few products. You know, they've even got some integrated mini greenhouses as well that you can actually buy, and it automatically waters itself. It's fantastic what they're doing over there. But I gave an honest review of this, and the only criticism I can have is that I thought that the pipe going around could have been maybe a few more meters. Now, you can buy the pipe extra, but this kit, I did just have enough just to get to there. So if I wanted it to water the whole polytunnel just going around, it'd be enough, but I wouldn't have had enough for that middle part as well. But that's the only criticism, that maybe the one pipe could be a little bit longer if you've got a 20-foot long polytunnel. This polytunnel is 20 foot by 12 foot, so I understand it's a bit bigger than your normal polytunnel. But would I have bought this myself? Absolutely. Harvst did send me this. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna whitewash that, but I was gonna be honest about this. And I mean, I generally love this. This is everything that I've always dreamed about having a polytunnel, is that I can now go on holiday and be confident that this can look after itself. It is off-grid. If you live at home and you want this, you can actually connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you can even be on holiday and you can press another water, or you can check on how hot it is in the polytunnel and things like that. It can do so many things. Now, they are modifying and adapting it all the time. So, I mean, this is a working project for Harvst. So, you know, they are happy for reviews, and they are happy for criticism where they want to improve things. So, you know, I've been talking to them for weeks and weeks and weeks about things that maybe I would have changed and whatnot. So, you know, they've been fantastic with their customer service. So what else have I done with this? So I've already showed you this extra modified one that I've added to zone 1, but zone 2, which is the main one, the main line from Harvst, it runs across, and not only does it run down to drippers where the tomatoes are going to be, it actually comes back up here, and I've actually fitted some more here, and I've actually got them connected to some dripper stations to water all the strawberries. Now, I mean, these are being looked after themselves now again, so I haven't got to worry about the strawberries. They're all just watering themselves. So not only is it watering all the beds underneath, it's watering all the seedlings on top of the polytunnel now with a sprayer system. So they're getting a good amount of water. It's doing the strawberries, it's doing the green stalk, and also to water this stackable planter that I've got for the strawberries. So it's doing quite a few things. And it's also doing everything up on the floating shelf by using this other system and the sprayer system that actually comes with the Watermate Pro. So in the box, you don't only just get 1 or 2 little sprayer fitments, you get quite a lot of little fitments, so you can modify this to as much as you want. So the main system by Harvst, the Watermate Pro, don't think you need to buy all these extra things that I bought. Is there enough in the box to do what you want to do? Absolutely, absolutely. There's loads. I mean, I haven't even used half of the little fitments that they've given me, but I wanted to go that extra mile with it, and I'm pleased that I did it. But do you need that? Absolutely not. Everything is in that kit for you. Now, this isn't a selling pitch. I'm not trying to encourage you to buy this system, but if you are looking for something that is off-grid, will look after itself, will water all your plants, take that stress from you so you can focus on other projects, holidays, gardening, this is definitely the system for you. Harvst have ticked off all the boxes for me. I will 100% enjoy this system, and will definitely be integrating more and more in the future, because I've got plans of having it to do soaker hoses. I've got loads of plans for it as well, because it is something that I have already had before in a basic form, where I integrated like a sump pump for myself, but I had to be here to turn that on rushing before work. Now this will come on, I've set it for 9 AM, and I can set whatever time I want and how much water I want. It's perfect. If you've got any queries, pop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer anything, or you can send me an email, because I understand that this was probably a little bit daunting to some people, but it's not as hard as it looks. It's very easy to fit up. I took minutes to set up everything that I needed to do, because it was so easy. You can even scan the QR codes on your phone, and it'll show you videos on how to do step by step, which I thought was fantastic. I didn't even actually need those because it was so easy to do, but if you do need that, it's there. Like I said, send me an email or a comment below if you are interested in it as well. But yeah, I'm thrilled with it. I'm Danny, and this is Grow Up.